Hi, welcome to step one, materials needed. So this is our porch in our apartment. It's a pretty small space, but you do need some sort of outdoor space to keep your compost bin. As you can see, we have lots of plants, which is great, where you can use our compost. But the first thing you're gonna need is some sort of compost bin. So actually for a wedding gift, my husband and I received this worm factory. You can find it on Amazon. It's a 4-tray system, and so this allows us to put our kitchen scraps into this compost pile. It also has a spout where we can release the compost juice, and every month or so we rotate the trays. That will be later on in the video series. The second thing you'll need is a place to put your kitchen scraps. So for example, I have my banana peel. We like to keep a glass container right next to the sink. So that's easy when we're cooking. You just put our kitchen scraps right there. And we recommend having a container with a lid so that it doesn't smell. And about twice a week, we empty this out into the top tray of the compost bin. Another optional material for your compost is getting compost worms. So you can purchase red wrigglers in a local farm or nursery. Adding worms is optional, but they're pretty easy to get. You can even order them online, and they do help decompose the food faster. So we recommend trying the red wriggler worms. If you like fishing, you can get them from a local fishing shop. And with or without worms, the process will take care of itself. But the worms do make for very good compost. It's known as vermicompost when you use worms for the composting process. So what can your worms eat if you have a worm compost? To prevent your worm compost from smelling and going bad, make sure you're using just raw kitchen scraps like banana peels, onion peels, all of that is okay. In moderation, you can put some bread type products, rice, but not too much because it can attract gnats and cause the worms to break down. Do not put citrus foods like oranges, lemons, or meat or bones, dairy products, or spicy, salty, greasy, or fatty foods. These can be harmful to your worms and produce chemicals that could cause other insects. Another thing to keep in mind, whether or not you use compost worms, is to maintain a balance of nitrogen and carbon, or greens and browns, by not just putting in food scraps, but also adding shredded paper or soft cardboard like you see here, some torn up eggshell cartons. If we keep adding just the kitchen scraps to the compost, it tends to become wet as it is mostly nitrogen and water, too much of which starts to make the compost smelly and attracts flies. So to counter this, we add a layer of shredded paper each time we empty our jar of kitchen scraps. You can shred junk mail or old newspapers. It's a great way to recycle and reuse. And it not only absorbs the excess water, but also adds carbon to the mix, improving the health of the finished compost. In step 2 of this series, we'll talk more about processing the compost, how to turn it over in the bins and switch up the trays, and using your finalized compost and compost tea.